Mimi huyu. Twende? Boss, uko sawa?
Niko sawa. Ni vile niko na calls mingi. It's a busy day, you know.
Kazi lazima ichape.
By the way, nice background.
Faster speeds, better experiences. Over 50 million Kenyans. One network. Safaricom. Popote ulipo.
Mkulima, usiteseke tena. Make your farming simple by adopting the new Magna irrigation system from Elgon, Kenya.
Nini kimekufanyikia mguu?
Mimi nimechoka na hii ukulima. Wacha nikafanya biashara nyingine. Mimi huchoka kila saa nikinyunyuzia hii mimea maji, lakini hainawiri.
Wewe ndio haujajua siri ya urembo bado.
That ranges from drip lines, sprinklers, water pumps, sprayers, and generators. This is the convenient way to unrivaled yields. Elgon, Kenya. Transforming farms and lives through technology.
Anaichanja ndani uzuri David!
Michuano ya CAF ya mataifa ya Afrika 2024 ni njia ya kuzindua kupanua mtandao wa wachezaji ulimwenguni. Timu itakayoshinda itazawadiwa dola za Marekani milioni 3.5 pamoja na kujivunia kulinyanyua kombe hilo. Pata manufaa zaidi kutoka kwa CHAN 2024 mubashara na kipute cha kipekee kwenye runinga ya KBC Channel 1, mwenzio wa dhati michezoni.
Hii ni mpya! Hii ni mpya! Hii ni mpya! Hii ni mpya! Hapo ukawatalike nyumbani! Ukawatalike nyumbani! Mpya! Ni mpya! Ni mpya! Ni mpya! Tuko na aina nyingi! Tuko na nyingi! Wajiproof! Wajiproof! Hata hii kama mpya! Hiyo yote tuko nayo hata sisi!
Kenya's first tintable waterproof in paint.
There comes a moment when the ordinary world fades away and the wild calls your name. This is as wild as you want it. And it's all here. Every trail leads to an adventure because adventure isn't just about the rush. It's about where it takes you, who you become, and the stories you'll tell. Start your adventure here at Magical Kenya.
Of reckoning for Mutai. Will Senate save the embattled Kericho governor, or will it seal his fate? Well, Friday is fast approaching. Plus, why the ultra-modern church at State House is likely to take longer than expected. Well, we have details coming from the High Court. It is 9 p.m. here in Nairobi, 7 p.m. in London, and of course, 8 p.m. in Johannesburg. You are right on time for the most comprehensive bulletin of the land. My name is O'Brien Kimani. Good evening and thank you for joining us wherever you are. Remember, my handle is at O'Brien Kimani, at KBC Channel 1. We have the highlights first before we hit the ground running.
We are going to pay for you half that amount. We're going to pay for you 1 million shillings. You pay the other 1 million, or we will give you a mortgage you can pay over 20 years.
And the stars shine all the same. Harambee Stars players to get subsidized houses under government's affordable housing program.
When we hire 10,000 police officers, of the 10,000, 4,000 must come from the National Youth Service.
From NYS to police service. President Ruto directs Interior Ministry to absorb 4,000 NYS graduates into the National Police Service. Hold on your horses. High Court bars the construction of a church within the precinct of State House pending petition hearing. And Kericho Governor trial. Senate probes Kericho County Assembly's use of electronic voting to impeach Governor Eric Mutai. Well, many thanks for joining us right here on the Prime Edition. Just to remind you that we are going to have a major interview coming up on this broadcast. And of course, our anchor, Daniel Wahome, will be talking to the head of communication at CHERN. This is Luxulo September. And of course, our sign language interpreter is Byron Abrili. The Director of Public Prosecutions has directed the prosecution of Bomet County Governor Hilary Barachok and former Bungoma County Wycliffe Wangamati on corruption charges. The DPP also ordered further investigations into conflict of interest allegations, among other charges, against governors Kimani Wamatangi of Kiambu and Mohammed Mahamoud Ali of Marsabit.
The war on graft has been stepped up, with the latest axe falling on Bomet County Governor Hilary Barachok and former Bungoma County Governor Wycliffe Wangamati. In a statement dated 28th of August 2025, the Director of Public Prosecutions, Renson Ingonga, confirmed receipt of an inquiry file from the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission EACC, recommending the arrest of Governor Barachok and the Director of Chemasis Construction Limited, Evans Career, on conflict of interest, money laundering and unlawful acquisition of public property charges, among others. Upon review, Ingonga directed the county boss be charged with conflict of interest and unlawful acquisition of public property, contrary to Section 45 Cap 1A of the Corruption and Economic Crimes Act of 2003. Career is to be charged with acquisition of proceeds of crime, contrary to Section 4 of the Crime and Anti-Money Laundering Act of 2009, a fate Governor Barachok is also facing. Former Bungoma Governor Wycliffe Wangamati is also on the receiving end after a direction to have him charged with conflict of interest alongside other individuals on acquisition of proceeds of crime and fraudulent practices in a procurement proceeding charges. Also on the DPP's radar is Marsabit Governor Mohammed Mahamoud, after Ingonga identified critical evidentiary gaps that require to be covered in a way of further investigations on an inquiry filed from the EACC, together with a report under Section 35 of the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act. The anti-graft body had recommended conflict of interest charges against the county boss in the award of tenders. EACC had further recommended the arraignment in court of the county's CEC for Finance and Economic Planning Malicha Borough and other individuals on conflict of interest and conspiracy to commit crimes, amongst other charges. In Kiambu, an inquiry filed from the anti-graft body recommended the arraignment of Governor Kimani Wamatangi and 7 other individuals on charges of conflict of interest, unlawful acquisition of public property and acquisition of proceeds of crime. Ngonga, however, identified gaps that require further investigations, thereby directing the resubmission of inquiry files to the EACC for further investigations. Yusufar reporting for Prime Edition.
Elsewhere, President William Ruto has said the government will subsidize the cost of a 2-bedroom unit in the affordable housing program for the Harambee Stars players as part of the reward scheme following their quarter-final exit in the CHAN 2024. Speaking at State House, Nairobi, the head of state said the government will make a payment of 1 million shillings, while the players will meet the balance of 1 million shillings.
In the onset of CHAN 2024, President William Ruto offered the Harambee Stars a cash reward of 1 million shillings for a win and $500,000 shillings for a draw. Mid-tournament, there was an added incentive of a 2-bedroom affordable housing unit should the team get past the semi-finals. This dream of owning a house looked lost after the team exited at the quarter-final stage after a post-match penalty loss to Madagascar. This has changed. Speaking at State House Nairobi when he hosted the Stars for luncheon, the head of state offered to subsidize the cost of a 2-bedroom unit for the players.
The 2-bedroom house that we had agreed on under our current arrangement in affordable housing costs 2 million shillings. We are going to pay for you half that amount. We're going to pay for you 1 million shillings. You pay the other 1 million, or we will give you a mortgage you can pay over 20 years.
President Ruto added that there will be continued investment in sports infrastructure as Kenya prepares to host AFCON 2027.
We are investing heavily in sports infrastructure. From the successful hosting of CHAN, which showcased our readiness to stage major continental events, to the construction and innovation and renovation of the world-class stadiums. We are building facilities that will serve athletes and communities alike for generations.
Sports Cabinet Secretary Salim Mvurya offered sustainable talent development, while the Harambee Stars unit was grateful for the support accorded to them.
Your Excellency, this gesture is also to demonstrate your commitment to lift sports from the grassroots, and therefore, as a ministry, we will continue to work with all talents across the country.
From me and the team, from the bottom of my heart, I don't think we would have been able to achieve and make those small steps in the right direction if we didn't have you guys behind us to support us and gave us the tools to succeed. So thank you very much for your faith and your trust in us.
You have really united the Kenyans. Sahi ukienda kwa stadium unaona stadium zimejaa because of your hard work, commitment na support yako. So tunashukuru.
For Prime Edition, I am Daniel Wahome.
Still on the president, where President William Ruto has directed the Ministry of Interior to absorb 4,000 National Youth Service graduates in the National Police Service during the forthcoming recruitment exercise for 10,000 new officers. Speaking during the 89th NYS graduation ceremony in Gilgil, Nakuru County, the president said his government has been in the forefront in seeking job opportunities both within and in the overseas labor market, urging those who will not make the cut to join the police force to take up the many available opportunities.
It was pomp, color, and march to precision at the Gilgil National Youth Service Academy as over 18,000 recruits, the largest in the cohort of NYS history, marked the culmination of their 6th-month training at the 89th NYS Pass-Out Parade.
Commander akiwa ni Chief Inspector Mark Ochola.
A display of military drills and parade, a spectacle that held the crowd's attention. It is here that President William Ruto announced measures being undertaken by his administration to place young people at the center of Kenya's transformation agenda.
And I have already given instructions to the Ministry of Interior that next month, when we hire 10,000 police officers, of the 10,000, 4,000 must come from the National Youth Service.
The head of state announcing that the NYS recruitment will be expanded from 18,000 to 100,000 in the next 3 years, reflecting its growing role in job creation and skills training.
It is my intention, working with the ministry concerned, to make sure that this National Youth Service become the channel of ensuring that children from across Kenya, especially from underprivileged communities and families, find a path to the future by using the platform of the National Youth Service.
To address youth unemployment, the president said the newly launched Kandarasi Mtaani initiative will create 200,000 more jobs in infrastructure and housing. On global opportunities, Ruto cited the Labour Mobility Program, which is linking Kenyans with jobs abroad, backed by government support for visas.
We are now negotiating more agreements to open more doors for even more of our skilled, tech-savvy young people to thrive on the world stage.
Doreen Arange for Prime Edition.
From Gilgil to Karen, where Deputy President Professor Kithure Kindiki has told all government institutions to abide by directive requiring the use of the e-procurement system to increase transparency, efficiency and accountability in public spending. Kindiki, who was addressing the Development Partners Forum in Karen, also asked the donors to align their funding with the government's bottom-up economic agenda.
Speaking during the Development Partners Forum at Karen that brought together ambassadors and high commissioners representing various countries, cabinet secretaries and principal secretaries, Deputy President Kithure Kindiki said although there were challenges in the transition of procurement from manual to electronic, the government will not back down on the reforms.
County governments are experiencing challenges in making use of e-procurement. It is not just county governments that are experiencing those challenges. Even national government agencies are experiencing the same challenges, including my office. However, we must resolve those challenges and implement e-procurement because we will not revert to the manual procurement system whatsoever.
National Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi alluded that some government officials, including some other treasury and county governments, were sabotaging the transition, thus enabling continued manipulation of the tendering process to embezzle public funds.
When I issue circular on e-procurement, people have a problem with it. And all these are circulars from the National Treasury. It's because people have interest in procurement. That is the truth. They still want to go back to manual and manipulate procurement, where they pluck papers from the tender documents. And that is what we are not going to allow.
Professor Kindiki also urged the donors to identify projects aligned with the government's bottom-up economic agenda to avoid gaps in funding, akin to the withdrawal of USAID donor funding.
This forum therefore remains a critical platform, not only to review the progress of our official development assistance, but also to reflect on how this assistance aligns with Kenya's national priorities.
He also declared that several projects had stalled due to lack of funding or inconsistencies in funding.
Some of the projects are 15, 20, 25 years old. We cannot continue having them on board. We have either to renegotiate them because of the fundamental change of circumstances or terminate them.
Give us Mana Prime Edition.
From Karen to the High Court, where the High Court has temporarily barred the government from putting up a permanent church or any structure tied to a religious faith within the premises of State House, Nairobi, or any other state house or state lodge. Justice Chacha Mutai issued the orders following petitions that had been filed by different groups raising weighty constitutional and legal issues about the intersection of religion and state functions. Letua Deborah reports in the Skills of Justice segment.
The petitioners argue that establishment of religious infrastructure in public places such as state house may violate the constitutional principle of state neutrality in religious matters. Justice Muita, who reviewed the pleadings and determined the urgency of the case, stated that the issues raised were serious and require immediate judicial intervention to allow for further legal scrutiny. The court directed the government to refrain from erecting religious buildings, pending further directions on November, when the matter will be heard, with parties ordered to exchange responses and submissions within strict timelines. And the High Court will issue directions on the President's appointment of a committee to handle compensation of demonstration victims on 24th September 2025. This is after 4 activists, Dr. Magare Kigenyi, Eliud Karanja Matindi, and 2 others, contended that President William Ruto overstepped his constitutional mandate by creating the panel through a proclamation on August 6th, later gazetted on August 25th, 2025. The petitioners argued that the Constitution does not empower the President to establish bodies to handle compensation, insisting such roles are already vested in independent state agencies, such as the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, the Victims Protection Agency, IPOA, the Office of the DPP, and the Judiciary.
Okay, I'll make my direction.
Elsewhere, the Milimani Magistrates Court ordered 4 suspects to be released on a bond of Kenya shillings 500,000 or a cash bail of 100,000 Kenya shillings with 1 contact person after the prosecution confirmed investigations into the alleged theft of 11 containers of bitumen worth 19 million Kenya shillings were complete and no further detention was sought. The suspects are accused of conspiring to divert the containers consigned to a Chinese construction firm from Inland Container Depot. The case will be mentioned on 11th September 2025. Letua Deborah for Prime Edition.
And of course, you're watching the Prime Edition with me, O'Brien Kimani. We are taking our first break. Remember, you don't need to go anywhere because we are coming up with more details on why the government is not backing off from the e-procurement system. Stay right here.
Hello there. Do you want to own a home? Welcome to Boma Yangu, a Kenyan government initiative offering affordable home ownership opportunities to every Kenyan. We have projects across the entire country. With a deposit of 5% the value of the house and a fixed interest rate of as low as 3%, your journey to home ownership begins. Log in to the eCitizen portal or dial *832#. Register with 200 shillings only and start saving via mobile money, debit card or credit card to achieve the required deposit. From the listed housing developments, select your preferred location and apply for a housing unit to begin your journey towards home ownership. Prices start from 640,000 Kenya shillings. Visit Boma Yangu at www.bomayangu.go.ke. Brought to you by Affordable Housing Board. Makao Bora, Jukumu Letu.
Si niliwaambia? Halo, niletee kama kawaida.
Kama sio kavagara, wacha kiumane.
Hii chapati ni tamu sana.
Omera, sere bila kavagara, sio sere.
Dukani usitishe unga, itisha kavagara.
Mimi huyu. Twende? Boss, uko sawa?
Niko sawa, ni vile niko na calls mingi. It's a busy day, you know.
Kazi lazima ichape.
By the way, nice background.
faster speeds, better experiences. Over 50 million Kenyans. One network. Safaricom. Popote ulipo.
Mwazeni wait.
Lea Premium Flour, nurturing the world. Available in a store near you.
Attention all journalists in Kenya. The Media Council of Kenya, MCK, is calling you to apply or renew your 2025 press card now. It's fast and easy. Just log on to your online portal at www.mediacouncil.or.ke. For more information, email us at accreditation@mediacouncil.or.ke or call 0110-131-447 or visit us at Britam Center, Nairobi, or our Mombasa, Meru, Nakuru, and Kisumu offices. You can report violations or press freedom issues by calling us on 0702 222 111. Stay legit. Carry your press card on duty. Always ready, always professional. MCK, promoting press freedom and responsible journalism.
I will build my church. The gates of hell shall not prevail against it.
This September, Uhuru Park will thunder with revival.
This place that gave birth to a revival to a continent will once again give birth to a revival to a generation.
5 days of worship, word, and breakthrough. Experience word that awakens destiny and presence that transforms lives. Join a nationwide awakening like no other. Come as you are, seeking, believing, expectant.
Rema Feast 2025.
And so here it begins again from the 1st to the 5th of September 2025.
Entry is free.
Welcome back. You're watching the Prime Edition. Kiharu Member of Parliament Dede Nyoro has defended the National Government Constituency Development Fund as a vital tool for grassroots development, urging the government to increase its allocation instead of debating its existence. Nyoro spoke when he toured the newly renovated and landscaped St. Mary's Primary School in Kiharu, where he said the funds helped improve the lives of the electorate. The lawmaker further added that bursaries remain necessary because education isn't completely free, urging the government to raise the capitation to 32,000 shillings per student annually.
Na CDF inasaidia kujenga mijenzi ama majengo yale, inasaidia community kwenda mbele kama mashule, kama mambo ya security. The discussion in Kenya should not be about whether CDF should be there or not. It should be about increasing the money that comes through NGCDF. Kwa sababu wale wana decide vile inatumika ni wana Kenya wakipitia wale wamechagua kwa nyadhifa za kuwa wabunge.
The impeachment trial of Kericho County Governor Eric Mutai entered its second day Thursday at the Senate, with Governor Mutai's legal team casting doubt on the credibility of the voting system that was used at the County Assembly to remove him from office. During the trial, County Assembly witnesses were pressed to defend the integrity of the electronic voting process and prove that the two-thirds threshold was met. Senators will vote on Friday to decide the fate of Mutai.
You follow the proceedings there, you follow the proceedings here, where there are glaring issues that have been raised in this case. Do you believe that the issues that have been raised in these proceedings and in your proceedings in the Assembly are issues that are tantamount to impeaching the governor.
These phones that messages were sent to you, are they county assembly phones or personal phones? Number 2, did you receive any SMS to your phone to remind you that you are supposed to connect with the system to vote?
The link, the SMS had been sent to my phone. And since I didn't have my phone at that time, I didn't open the message. So even up to now, up to date, up to today, as we are talking, the message is there. I have not opened.
Away from the Senate, and police in Kiambu County have launched investigations into the death of a young couple whose bodies were discovered in their rented house in Riabai village. The bodies of 25-year-old John Karedi Mboro and 22-year-old Josephine Gathoni were found at around 7 p.m. on Wednesday. Details of these and other stories in our county news roundup.
A somber mood has engulfed 2 families in Riabai village following the mysterious deaths of their kin. Kiambu Sub-County Commander Thomas Njomo said investigations are underway to establish the circumstances leading to the demise of the young couple.
Tukaambiwa kuna miili ya watu wawili imepatikana ndani ya nyumba. Sasa mwenye kupiga simu akasema, akatuelezea majina yake, tukajua huyo ni brother yetu.
Ningehimiza tu vijana kama wangekuwa na mizozo ya aina yoyote wajaribu kutafuta usaidizi kutoka kwa watu ambao ni wazee kidogo na wana umahiri zaidi katika hali ya maisha, watawasaidia kimawazo.
In Meru County, Kaongo Kamwere Primary School in Igembe Central Sub-County is in deplorable state, forcing learners and teachers to endure harsh learning conditions due to inadequate infrastructure.
Hii miti ambayo unaona hapa nyuma yangu ndio ambayo tumepanga kutengeneza, kukata, tupanda na tuweka mangunia ndio watoto wa grade ya 8 wapate mahali pa kusomea. Kwa hivyo mimi kama ambao nilipiga kura na kuchagua serikali ya Mr. William Ruto na MP ndani Gele, ndio ningeomba watuangalie tukaweze kupata interest, sababu bila elimu hao watoto watakuwa wezi.
In Kakamega County, Huisero Member of Parliament Christopher Aseka has urged relevant authorities to take necessary action on officials in the newly established Social Health Authority involved in embezzling public funds by channeling payments to fake health facilities.
Katika ministries tumeona juzi kule SHA, ile kitu ambayo imekuja kusaidia wamama wetu hapa kwa dispensaries na health center, tumeona watu wanaiba pesa huko. Tunamwomba rais vile alisema kwamba mambo ni matatu kwa wale cartels wa miwa, pia kule SHA aseme mambo ni mangapi.
Elsewhere, at least 50 giraffes previously trapped inside privately fenced properties in Kajiado County in the last 2 years have been freed by Kenya Wildlife Service. Have been freed by Kenya Wildlife Service officers in collaboration with private conservators. In Garissa County, the Coast Development Authority has rolled out the construction of 3 water plants worth 90 million shillings in Fafi constituency to tackle persistent water shortages caused by climate change.
The community is sparsely populated. Now, it's a huge area. It's a huge constituency. So we need more resources, more funding, so that we can have such projects more and more.
All this water part is to ensure that there was adequate water for the people of Fafi constituency, specifically for domestic use and livestock.
In Lamu County, police officers were forced to use tear gas to disperse the demonstrating nurses in Lamu County as they sought to gain entry into the governor's office.
Hivyo basi tunamwambia mwajiri wetu ya kwamba harakishe mishahara itolewe kwa sababu ni haki yetu. Tumefanya kazi miezi 2, tunahitaji kulipwa haraka iwezekanavyo.
Hii ni mara ya 3 tunazuiliwa na polisi ili tusimuone mwajiri wetu mkuu, na kama wauguzi wa kaunti ya Lamu, hii ni mojawapo wa kuonyesha kwamba mwajiri wetu hayuko tayari kutusikiza.
Finally, a caucus of youths from Kisii and Nyamira counties have put elected leaders from the larger Gusii region on the spot, challenging them to be accountable and keen on matters of development.
For us, the fight against poverty remains the top of the agenda. Poverty is not lack of resources. It is about the leaders that we choose and we elect.
And that's why we are giving young people civic education to register as voters and to have the identification card so that it will be able to help us to elect good leaders come 2027.
Martini Maslin for Prime Edition.
Time now to get transactional in the business world, where the government will save up to 150 billion shillings annually from procurement once the electronic government procurement system is implemented. National Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Badi says the implementation and the use of EGP system will result in reduced cost of goods, works and services, increased transparency in procurement processes and practice, as well as improved efficiency in procurement.
Early in the year, the National Treasury launched the rollout of the EGP in preparation for the full EGP system rollout on 1st July 2025. The system is meant to maximize value for money, improve accountability, confidentiality, integrity and authenticity of transactions between procuring entity and suppliers. The government says there is marked improvements in procurement practices in the public sector.
Our projection is about 100 billion. Why? Because the experience has shown that countries where this e-procurement has been implemented, that in the first year of implementation, you save close to 10% of your procurable budget, 10 to 15%. Now, 10% of our procurable budget is about 100 billion. So we expect to save between 100 and 150 billion. It can even be more.
So far, the EGP system rollout has seen about 1,285 procuring entities registered, 7,637 suppliers onboarded, while hundreds of trainees have been capacitated.
All state departments and county governments have been trained, and the last cohorts will graduate in 1 week's time. Over 2,000 PFM officers have been trained from state departments and county governments. 180 officers have been trained from state corporations.
So far, 31 counties have submitted their budgets and are currently being validated for upload to IFMIS and the EGP system.
What we have received at the IFMIS is 31 counties out of 47. The remaining 16 have not been processed by Controller of Budget, I guess. Maybe some have not even submitted their request to the Controller of Budget. Now, the ones that are in IFMIS, the 31, 4 of them, they have cleared. They have sent to the EGP.
And as for state corporations, the National Treasury says finance officers have been trained on how to prepare their budgets on the EGP budget template. Once the EGP template has been cleared, it is expected that the finance officer shall upload the same in the EGP system to facilitate the preparation of the procurement plan. Alan Auko, Prime Edition.
Thank you, Alan Auko, for that report. The government will allow the importation of raw sugar, which will be refined locally for industrial and domestic use. Trade Cabinet Secretary Lee Kenyanjui says the move will save the country billions of shillings spent on sugar imports, standing at about 400,000 metric tons annually. Wycliffe Okech reports.
Traditionally, Kenya has been a net importer of sugar to plug a yawning deficit in local production. However, the country has been making major strides towards self-sufficiency, with the government banning imports in November last year. This saw sugar imports falling by 45% in the third quarter of 2024 due to an oversupply of the commodity in the local market. Trade Cabinet Secretary Lee Kenyanjui says the country is currently importing all the industrial sugar used locally, thus costing the country billions of shillings in forex outflow. To address this, he said the government will soon open an import window for raw sugar.
We will be looking into how we can allow part importation of that raw sugar
so that we can have some of the factories, including where we are today, where there's an investment of over 2 billion for a factory that has not worked since 2016.
Speaking during a fact-finding mission at the Kibos sugar factory in Kisumu, the CS said the imported raw sugar will also enable local refining to plug the estimated 400,000 metric tons deficit in ordinary sugar.
We will be looking into how we can allow the raw sugar in the hope that farmers within this region and in the country at large, in the near future, will be able to produce enough sugar both for domestic consumption and industrial consumption.
Kinyanjui has challenged the private sector to invest more in sugarcane growing to avoid the periodic closure of sugar factories due to the shortage of cane.
And the good thing about sugarcane, it takes a very short time to grow. So this is a matter we can address in the next 2 to 3 years so that we can have self-sufficiency.
And to save the threatened paper industry, CS Kinyanjui revealed of impending policies barring mass exportation of raw materials used by paper manufacturing factories, which is said is disadvantaging local paper manufacturers. For Prime Edition from Kisumu County, I am Wycliffe Okech.
And small and medium enterprises stand to be the biggest winners from a new partnership between the Kenya Ships Agent Association and Via Service Kenya Limited, which has scrapped costly container cash deposits. The Kenya Ships Agent Association chairperson Reja Dainty says the deal eliminates the long-standing requirement for costly container cash deposits that will unlock billions of shillings in tied-up capital and significantly reduce the cost of doing business in the country.
Announced at the Mission of Seafarers Center in Mombasa, the agreement introduces a digital container guarantee system that will replace traditional cash deposits, where importers were required to deposit between 64,000 to 642,500 shillings per container to shipping lines before cargo is released. This was creating a major cash flow hurdle, especially for small businesses.
At the lack of better options, the container deposit was one of the only options that was available to the shipping lines. Now, that container deposit has come with a number of burdens that have affected predominantly SMEs in the sector.
We already have 6 or 7 of our main lines have come to agreement with Viatrans. And we hope in due time more will do so.
Under the new model, importers and clearing agents will use Via Service digital guarantee platform to secure containers without upfront cash deposits. They say this will free up working capital, lower demurrage costs and speed up container turnaround times at the port of Mombasa, enhancing supply chain fluidity and competitiveness.
We are looking at a situation whereby we reposition containers as quick, as fast as it's possible.
If you want to be able to deploy solutions, innovations that are addressing sustainably some of these persistent trade barriers, it needs to be in concert with the industry. It needs to be for the industry. It needs to be by the industry.
The system is expected to go live within the next 2 months. Trevor Ngendo for Prime Edition.
There comes a moment when the ordinary world fades away and the wild calls your name. This is as wild as you want it. And it's all here. Every trail leads to an adventure. Because adventure isn't just about the rush. It's about where it takes you, who you become, and the stories you'll tell. Sometimes you need the thrill. Sometimes you need the journey. Start your adventure here at Magical Kenya.
We're not one thing, we're many. Hustlers morning, dreamers are lunch. By 3 p.m. tushakuwa meme lords. Ndo giza ikiingia, content inashika. We move fast to change lanes. ndio kesho iko soft life, leo tunaingia grind mode. But no matter the mood, bank tunahitaji ni yenye na switch na sisi, yenye iko already where we are and ready when we are, in our pockets, on our time, na speed yetu. One built not just to keep up, but to move with you in every mode. So, uko mode gani? Download the new KCB mobile app and switch on your mode today.
Are you ready to turn your passion into a profession? Welcome to Sensei College, where innovation meets action. At Sensei, we don't just teach, we train, we equip with hands-on market-driven courses. Join thousands of Kenyans and the rest of the world who have launched their careers with just an idea. Our friendly learning environment, modern facilities, and skilled instructors give you the support you need to thrive. Looking for industry-based training with real tools, real skills, and real outcomes? Look no further. Call 0705 000 777.
At the heart of Kenya's transport infrastructure is the Mechanical and Transport Directorate, MTD, under the Ministry of Roads and Transport. We oversee a network of services spread across 24 strategic regions, ensuring efficiency in plant and transport services nationwide, from road construction and maintenance to the provision of specialized equipment to manufacturing services. We support infrastructural development across the country. We carry out inspection and valuation of government vehicles, plant and equipment in view of pre-delivery, repair and maintenance and disposal. We also inspect second-hand imported motor vehicles for roadworthiness as per KEBS KS 1515 and conduct occupational tests for drivers and operators. For more information, visit mtd.go.ke or call 0718 976 445. The Mechanical and Transport Directorate, Quality Mechanical and Plant Services.
Nothing to it. No, go ahead. Baba Khalid gets a chance. A shot! Stunning strike! It was mid layup right at the box area. The clearance wasn't emphatic, and not letting that ball stand on occasion. Just picked his mark. The ball landing sweetly for a stunning.
Well, elsewhere, the government is exploring strengthening of collaboration with the resident associations to enhance community-driven development budget. Physical and Economic Affairs Directorate Director General Albert Mwenda says working closely with resident associations is key in broadening the tax base.
Residents associations are more than just neighborhood watch groups or dispute resolution bodies. They are engines of community empowerment. This strong network ensures local voices shape national and county policies.
I invite us to continue working hand in hand. Let's join together, build synergy, strengthen our collaboration so that we can make our neighborhoods better and places where we can all be proud to live and thrive as a community.
And players in the fintech industry have been urged to focus on innovation in cyberspace to increase the security of the infrastructure. With Africa's digital economy projected to hit $712 billion by the year 2050, and Kenya leading the way through innovations like mobile money platforms, cybercrimes remain a growing challenge, draining $4.5 billion annually from African economies. Delegates at the Africa Cyber and Fintech Innovation Summit 2025 highlighted the increasing cyber threat, noting that solutions could lie in artificial intelligence, blockchain technology, and digital identity.
Africa's fintech is one that is growing drastically. And at EVAD, our goal is to take a top-notch solution, cybersecurity solutions, and bring them into the continent, and at the same time apply them into the continent's approach. We want to make sure that our fintech and innovators feel comfortable as they grow in an environment that is secure.
Out of the total population, only 33% are connected. So we have a whole 67% yet to be connected. And that presents a huge opportunity for companies that are in fintech space. Yeah. So, you need to know what is happening. That's where the world is going towards. And Africa is a continent where growth is expected.
A lot of things now, have gone digital. So there is a lot of opportunities, to venture into the fintech side. And as that growth comes about, the cybersecurity also sector also grows in demand, because now they need to fill up now the gaps which are being created.
There is a need for Africa to present a united front on the global stage to push for fairer debt rules and climate justice. Speakers at the ongoing African Conference on Debt and Development in Accra, Ghana, are concerned that Africans are paying for debt that are unfair and unsustainable.
Amid calls for reparative justice, Africa has found itself trapped in what those at the 5th African Conference on Debt and Development called debt slavery.
What we are confronted with today in terms of the economic structure, debt crisis and all of that, you can trace that also to legacies related to colonization, because even though from the 60s, Africa broadly gained independence, the economic structure they left for us is essentially what we are practicing.
Countries are spending more on servicing external debt than on offering basic public services for their citizens, which is blamed on the design of the global financial system.
The slavery that it takes has more to do with the higher interest payment that we have to pay for utilizing the same capital. The average weighted interest cost for Germany over the years, as was done by the UN, was just 1.3%, US 3.1%, but Africa is borrowing averagely at 11.6%.
They are blaming the huge debt burden for the high tax rates in Africa. At the same time, billions of dollars are lost through illicit financial flows, further starving African economies of resources they need for growth.
We have natural resources, but we are not benefiting from the natural resource the way we should because of the weak natural resource governance and the weak fiscal regime that we have in them. What is ours, we must be able to utilize it, because that is our first mover advantage. And we have essentially allowed exploitation and so many. But more importantly, Africa was designed to produce raw materials. 60 years down the line after independence, we are still producing what? Raw materials.
With debt repayments consuming national budgets, little remains for basic services or climate action. Yet, when climate finance does arrive, nearly 70% comes in the form of loans, pushing countries even deeper into debt, despite Africa contributing just 4% of global carbon emissions. They say Africa needs a policy framework that ensures transparency, accountability, and institutions to handle climate funds. Now, speakers say reparatory justice must go beyond financial compensation, demanding restitution for stolen cultural artifacts, advocating for reforms in the global financial and government structure to be included to achieve societal economic equity, as well as heal societal scars. Weri Mujenga reporting from Accra in Ghana.
Thank you very much, Weri Mujenga from Accra, Ghana. Agricultural innovation and smart agriculture will take center stage during this year's Nairobi International Trade Fair. The event, slated for next month, is expected to bring thousands of exhibitors and showgoers keen to explore latest development in the sector. The Agriculture Show of Kenya says the event has so far attracted more than 30,000 participants from more than I'll take that again. Agricultural innovation and smart agriculture will take center stage during this year's Nairobi International Trade Fair. The event, slated for next month, is expected to bring thousands of exhibitors and showgoers keen to explore latest development in the sector. The Agriculture Show of Kenya says the event has so far attracted participants from more than 30 countries in Africa and beyond. ASK Chief Executive Batram Muthauka says the event, one of the region's largest exhibition, will showcase innovations in agriculture, livestock, agribusiness and trade, attracting participants from across Kenya and beyond. The Nairobi International Trade Fair Chair, Joseph Mogo, says the exhibition is also expected to attract students from across the country who will showcase their innovations and gain valuable knowledge about the agriculture sector. The trade fair is set to run from the September 29th to October 5th at the Jamhuri Showgrounds.
We have implemented a series of initiatives designed to enhance your experience and ensure that our brand remains strong, responsive and relevant. We encourage you all to use this space to exchange insights, raise ideas and maximize the opportunities before us.
A new cotton ginnery is under construction in Lamu County to offer market for cotton grown at the coastest part of Kenya's rural industrialization drive. Investment Promotion Principal Secretary Abubakar Hassan says the facility is aimed at decentralizing industrial growth and reducing reliance on imports by building local value chains.
The construction of a new cotton ginnery by Thika Cloth Mills Limited in Peketoni marks the first major factory in Lamu County since independence. Investment Promotion Principal Secretary Abubakar Hassan highlighted that the initiative is already attracting capital flows into regions previously marginalized by insecurity and infrastructure deficits.
Public investment, pesa yenu, pesa ya county ama pesa ya national government inayowekeza. Na private investment hii ya watu binafsi ambayo sisi kama kina Thika Cloth kazi yetu tu ni kuwawezesha na kuwarahisishia.
The new ginnery will offer market for local cotton farmers, significantly reducing post-harvest losses and cutting the high transport costs farmers previously faced when sending their cotton to distant ginneries in other counties.
We have Cameroonian seed. In fact, for now, we have OPV. We have some of our stakeholders are also trying to help with the BT seed, like the county government, AFA, State Department for Industry. But as pets, we have enough stocks of OPV for this year. I think we have about 600 metric tons in the store, waiting for the short rains in eastern Kenya.
As global supply chains move toward resilience and decentralization, Kenya's focus on embedding industrial infrastructure in developed units like Lamu could provide a competitive advantage, not only in textile, but in other agricultural value chains.
Well, we started with the general news, we went to business, and time now to get sporty. You know, this is coming up after the break. Remember, Daniel Wahome, who will be taking us through the sports news, will also be having an interview with Luxolo September. He's the head of TV and communications at SCAF. That interview you don't want to miss. Stay right here.
During this 2024 Chan moment, every glass of milk tells a story of care, quality, and goodness from the farm to your table. At the Kenya Dairy Board, we ensure that every drop you drink is fresh, safe, and wholesome from licensed dairy business operators you can trust. Milk is nature's pure gift, packed with calcium for strong bones, protein for growth, and vitamins to keep you healthy and active. Always look for dairy products permitted by the Kenya Dairy Board, KDB, your guarantee for safe and quality milk and dairy products. From our children to our adults, from breakfast to bedtime, the goodness of milk powers every moment. The Kenya Dairy Board, world-class dairy regulator committed to quality, safety, and national pride.
Kenya Ports Authority manages and operates the Port of Mombasa, the Port of Lamu, Kisumu Port, inland container depots in Nairobi and Naivasha, and ferry services. In 2024, cargo throughput at the Port of Mombasa hit a record 41 million metric tons, with container traffic for the first time surpassing the 2 million 20-foot equivalent unit mark. More than numbers, this is about progress. From wheat that bakes our bread to tea that carries Kenya's name across the world. From the mobile phone in your hands to the produce that feeds our families. Our ports keep East Africa's trade moving, our markets supplied, and our people connected. Kenya Ports Authority, growing business, enriching lives.
The stage is set, the teams are ready, and your voice could be the difference. Come wave your flag, sing your song, and back your favorite team as they battle for glory in the Total Energies CAF African Nations Championship 2024, right here on home soil.
A very good evening to you. My name is Daniel Wahome and welcome to Prime Edition Sport. All roads lead to the Mandela National Stadium in Nambola tomorrow as the battle for bronze at CHAN 2024 takes center stage. Defending champion Senegal square off against Sudan, with both sides eager to shake off their semi-final heartbreak and finish the tournament on a winning note. Daniel Mwendwa is our reporter in Uganda.
A slightly different route through to the semi-final stage.
Sudan head coach Kwesi Appiah says his players have put the semi-final setback behind and are fully focused on clinching bronze.
To compete at this level, you need to prepare yourself very well, which we did. And automatically, every team or every country that came for this competition, his ambition will be to win the cup. But once you're unable to do it, any level that you think you can make your country or your people happy, you just need to try and achieve it.
On the other hand, Senegal's Souleymane Diallo believes his side's trademark, discipline and consistency will carry them through, stressing that victory would reaffirm their stature in African football. With pride and silverware on the line, tomorrow's clash promises fireworks as both teams look to close their CHAN 2024 journey in style.
African football is getting better. Even looking at CAF, the monies that they've put in this competition, I think it's raising the morale and aspiration of every country to participate in the CHAN competition compared to previous years when people were not that involved.
With both teams expecting to finish the tournament on a high, fans here at Nambola Stadium will be expecting nothing short of a thrilling experience when the two sides clash. Remember, all the matches will be live on KBC Channel 1, sababu CHAN iko KBC. Reporting for Prime Edition Sports from Mandela National Stadium here in Nambola, Uganda, I'm Daniel Mwendwa.
Moving on is that the Council of East and Central African Football Association, CECAFA, has received sponsorship deals worth 42 million shillings from betting firm Betika ahead of the upcoming 2025 CECAFA Kagame Cup. The regional inter-club competition is slated for the 2nd to the 15th of next month in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania.
12 teams from the Council of East and Central Africa Football Association, CECAFA, will battle for glory in this year's edition of the tourney, which will be held in Tanzania. Kenya Police FC will represent Kenya, while Singida Black Stars will do so for the host nation, Tanzania. Last year's finalists and three-time winners APR will fly the flag for Rwanda, while Vipers will represent Uganda.
It is a great pleasure for us to come and make that announcement of being the official sponsor of the tournament and giving 42 million Kenya shillings to support this sponsorship. And just to commit that, as Betika has always done as a partner in supporting sports.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I'm so excited that to have a partnership like Betika during this season, especially during the coming of AFCON.
Tunapata partner mwingine tena. Mwaka huu wameingia Betika na unaona kabisa kwamba ofa yao ni nzuri. Kwa hiyo ina maana hatutakuwa na sababu nyingine ya kutofanya mashindano ya Kagame.
Meanwhile, South Sudan will be represented by Elmerich and SC Bentiu, as Mlandege will represent Zanzibar. Kenya is pooled in Group A alongside Singida, Gadi Kote from Djibouti and Ethiopia's Kofi. Group B comprises of APR of Rwanda, NEC of Uganda, Bumamaru from Burundi and Mlandege of Zanzibar. Frederick Mwoki for Prime Edition.
Well, thank you very much, Mwoki, for that report on the Sekafa Kagame Championship. Well, time for us now to get into a conversation. And, you know, all of August, it has been football season on KBC Channel 1. And that's why at the top right of your screen, you can read Chan Iko KBC. Now, Leo, CAF, wako KBC. And here for this conversation this evening, we've got the head of TV and communications at the Confederation of African Football, Luke Solo September. Pleasure to meet you.
I'm very happy to be at home. You know, I mean, this place feels like home to me. There is some excitement about being in Kenya, something very close to what this country means to the history of the continent. And of course, this country now is in the spotlight thanks to Chen.
Well, and talking about that, we'll just like to take, you know, an overview of the coverage of Chan. And first, the efforts put by the local organizing committees to put, you know, to promote the tournament before and and also the build up to it, because that's one part of it.
Look, everything is about leadership. That's what I've learned my 4 or so years at CAF. Under the leadership of Dr. Patrice Motsepe, what I've learned is that everything is about leadership in life. I remember coming here, you know, in December, I think it was on the 23rd of December, when everyone else was saying, no, Kenya will never be ready. The commitment of Dr. Motsepe to make this Chen a success, the commitment of President Ruto to make this Chen a success, President Samia in Tanzania and President Museveni in Uganda, and also the federations. I mean, President Hussein here and the local organizing committee. And I think you've got to look at this Chen and say it's been a historic competition. This Chen has, I mean, I'm not Kenyan, but it's the first time I go to a match or an event here and I see such excitement. It's the first time, certainly, that I have seen the global community commenting about the passion, the commitment. After the 30th of August, no one in the world will actually ask, can the East Africans do it? Because you guys have successfully answered this. And I think for me, I mean, I'm sure you guys will be the first to admit that this Chen has exceeded everyone's expectations. The support of the Harambee Stars, the support of the Kenyans. I know at some stage we're talking about too many people going to the stadium. I was talking to President Motsepe this morning, and I said, you know, as much as it's a headache, but we've got a good headache in our hands.
Well, I'll be talking about that headache later because it's known as ticketing. And during the tournament, you know, what's the changing communications about this event that have evolved week in, week out?
I was reading a document. I mean, I was reading an article on the leading newspaper here in Kenya, and it said that what started as an experiment has become a very successful adventure. And I think this Chen is a blueprint for everyone else. It's the first time CAF has ever flirted with an idea of 3 hosts, and we've seen that East Africa can do it. I think, but the most important legacy of this Chen is what happens when CAF leaves. What the KPL does, Kenya Premier League, what Kenya Football Federation do when we are leaving here, because the foundation, a firm foundation has been set. The investment by the government in the facilities is going to benefit not only football. I mean, you guys have got some of the best athletes in the world. Now, Kasarani Stadium is not only world-class now, it's got great floodlights, it's got great track. It means that the legacy of this chain will be felt long after KEF has left this country.
Well, and that's one of the things, that a conversation that, I would like you to put forward. I think January, just around when the draw was conducted in February, there were the conversations that went out, what Donald Trump calls fake news. Rwanda is going to take this. How are you managing, scenarios like those?
I mean, we've got a leader in President Motsepe who's very, very single-minded sometimes, to a fault, I mean, he fights with all of us. He doesn't sleep. I mean, I just got off the meeting with him now.
And you had one in the morning.
No, it was 7:30 in the morning, He wanted to know everything that is happening in Kenya. How are we prepared? Is it going to be a full stadium? And the message that was being given to him was the government of Kenya is committed to a full stadium. The federation in Kenya, the LOC in Kenya, but more importantly, the Kenyans themselves are so determined to show the rest of the world that Kenya is in the global spotlight and Kenya is seizing its moment. I mean, I saw the other day one of your ambassadors, Larry Modo, every day he's wearing a Kenya jersey nowadays, So I think for me, first of all, there was never a doubt in KEF's mind that this tournament should be here. It was important for KEF to put the necessary support. Be kind to yourselves. It's the first time you guys have hosted a major competition in more than 30, 40 years. So no one is born knowing how to organize major competition. There's a progressiveness. AFCON coming here, now we know what this part of the world can do. And I think we have set ourselves up, including yourselves, for probably one of the most successful global events ever.
Now, because you brought up the headache and, repeatedly, a mention about a commitment to a full stadium and that.
Yes.
How has ever since after that match where, everyone, it was restricted to 60, brought up to around 80.
Yes.
What's now the way, the communication and the way out towards the final Saturday?
I mean, look, as I said, everyone else was a bit negative about it. And I reflected on it. Of course, we have to ensure that the people who come to the stadiums are safe. We've got to work with the government and put stringent measures to ensure that safety and security is non-negotiable. But it's a good headache to have, because the people are probably too excited. The people are so united in Kenya. The people are looking forward to football and talking football and are so passionate about it. Now, our job, the government's job, KEF's job, LOC's job, and the federation is to ensure we put the necessary structures in place from a security point of view, crowd control and crowd management, to ensure that the people come in and out of the stadium in the safe possible manner. But let's not dilute the excitement, because tomorrow you've got Morocco playing Madagascar.
Day after, yes.
Day after, sorry. Oh, yeah. But the people of Kenya are as interested in that game because this is your time to market your country as a destination for sport. And I think the ticket sales are not just going well, are amazing. For me, I think it's important we put all these things in context. And context matters. Be kind to yourselves, but also know that going forward, we always put the right people. Now, after this, you've got the right people. We've got the people with the necessary skills. You've got the support of KEF to ensure that you walk this road. But for me, I leave this country in the next 3 or 4 days with only warm and great memories.
Now, outside the field of play, because there's so many stories that can be told, what are some of the moments that caught your eye? Zanzibar, Dar.
I mean, I was in Tanzania, and the match finished, and then they start after party at the stadium. 40,000 people are outside the stadium. Just there is a music concert, an impromptu, and I'm like, wow, unbelievable. When we had a match of Kenya here, the fan zones, when I saw how many people were packed in the streets of Nairobi watching the fan zone, for me, as I said, this competition has highlighted something the global community has unfairly ignored for a very long time. Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda's ability to organize things, first of all, at the global scale, but more importantly, the unfairly underestimated passion of the people of this particular part of the world to support football.
Well, just how, this after-party things, for high-level events, it just wouldn't happen. Just how did TZ pull that off?
My goodness me, you know, I don't mention it. The security guys. I think what has happened, again, is that at first there was a question of, can this tournament happen? Then I think people started catching up, and the nationalism kicks in, the patriotism kicks in, the sense of pride about your own thing kicks in. And then the people are just part of it. I mean, one of the highlights for me, I was going to the match Kenya versus Morocco, and I was driving to the stadium. Everywhere, from my hotel to the stadium, there was someone wearing a Kenyan flag. Unbelievable.
Well, I can tell you that that is one thing that we shall always remember with this tournament, and bringing into the fan zones, you know, brought in for the final, for the final 2 group matches, and started off with 6, ended up as 13. What is the lesson learned about this kind of fan engagement? Because it's happening everywhere.
It's amazing, right? It's amazing. But again, as I said, for a country that has not hosted major events, we walk away with a lot of lessons here. For me, it's this particular part of the world, about 400 million people, passionate people, just need to be activated, and this competition has activated. I think actually when we reflect, the media reflects and everyone else reflects, when we talk about the revival of football in East Africa, or Kenya in particular, we will always look at Chad.
And looking at it, how would you want to engage more for future tournaments? Morocco's hosting the AFCON at the end of the year. How can this be translated? Because I think in 2022 Qatar, they had one crazy fan zone.
I mean,
and here we are.
We are walking, I mean, thanks to our president to make sure we don't sleep. My goodness me. We are walking, I don't want to spoil the surprise, because the stuff we're working on with AFCON is just amazing. I mean, go to the stadium in Kasarani, you see the branding there, the look and feel. The product on television that is on KBC is amazing, it's world class. What we are doing now is we're pushing the envelope. We no longer want people to talk about African standards. We're talking about global standards. The standards, when you're watching a match in Kenya and you're watching a match in England, it must be the same. Why not? Now, the net benefit of this is you and me, the Africans. If we promote our own thing, we are benefiting directly from it. We either promote our own thing and benefit from it, or promote other people's products and they benefit from us promoting their own thing.
And look, let me bring in something, you know, communicating. There's the younger people in Kenya, we simply call them Gen Z.
Yes.
That's what they're known as. And, you know, their platforms may not be the good old screen. It could be Instagram, could be TikTok, could be Facebook, you know, visuals. How are you trying to bring out the excitement of these people? Yeah,
but I mean, the investment we are making, not only in the TV product, but also in the digital product at KEF is amazing. We have doubled all those engagements. I mean, we invested $1 million in archives in memory of KEF. Because, I mean, you walk anywhere in Africa, they say the Africans don't have any archives of who they are. If you come today, the archive system is one of the best. The digital numbers of the last AFCON was 2.6 billion people. The numbers of the last AFCON TV audiences, the global audience, is 1.5 billion. This makes AFCON only the 3rd best football event in the world after the FIFA World Cup and the Euro. You've got to reflect on this. It's bigger than South America, it's bigger than North America, it's bigger than South America, it's bigger than CONCACAF and AFC combined. It shows that in Africa we are sitting with something really amazing. And we are thinking both about the younger generation and, of course, the older generation, the role of the free-to-air. I mean, KBC is a great partner of KEF. The role that you guys play in really promoting football in Kenya, the role you play in working with KEF as a great partner historically, and hopefully going forward, just pay for the rights.
Don't give us the invoice yet. Now,
after the show.
After the show, we can take the invoice. But yeah, because that's today at State House Nairobi, I had FKF President Hussein Mohammed mentioned, you know, slightly about some of the local engagements, 100 million impressions on social media and that. What numbers have you seen, you know, comparably for CHAN 2022 and 2024?
I mean, we normally release the numbers and then for competition, but this is by far one of the most. I leave this to the president's press conference, which will be on Saturday. I hopefully live here on KBC at 1 o'clock on Saturday. Let's leave this to Dr. Motsepe's press conference. He will be announcing the numbers.
All right, so we've got a live press conference, so we'll mark that. Thank you, Lux. Normally, we are cautious not to take the press conferences live. We'll take that as a go. So we'll be ready with that 1 p.m. Let's take a short break, and when we come back, let's talk about broadcast, because this is where CAF and KBC, partner a lot, and the protection of that property.
Here at the Kenya Bureau of Standards, we do not just set the standards, we set the pace. Just like our footballers, we believe in excellence, integrity, and protecting what matters most, you, our consumer. From the products you buy to the services you trust, KEBS is your silent defender. Ensuring safety, quality, and fairness every step of the way. As you cheer your favorite team, know that behind every timer, every goal, every whistle, there's a standard that holds strong. Kenya Bureau of Standards, the home of standards. Enjoy your CHAN games on KBC, your true sports partner. Quality, integrity. That's the standard we live by. KEBS, standards for quality life. Viwango kwa maisha bora.
Are you looking for an insurance partner with a smart cover that doesn't break the bank? Look no further than Definite Assurance. We make insurance simple, clear, and definitely affordable. We offer protection for various motor classes, fire and burglary, marine, personal accident, bonds, and corporate medical insurance. We are real people who give real care. Visit www.definiteassurance.com or email info@definiteassurance.com for more information, or contact 0708-247-247 or 0788-247-247. Definite Assurance. You are definitely covered. J. Uko nao.
Welcome back to Prime Edition, and we're having a conversation, and this is about Chan Pamoja 2024, and we're with Lux September, who's head of TV and communications at the Confederation of African Football. Lux, we've spoken, about all of that, but let's talk about this partnership. And first thing, broadcast, yes, because this is something that people, at times get confused about how these things, they think they're given. Others are, to directly translate from Swahili, they've been handed over to, the rights have been handed over. But just the background of engaging, the marketing firms to distribute this content that is there.
I mean, first of all, you must have context. You remember that in 2021, certainly the people who negotiate the rights here will know that there was almost a TV blackout in Africa. When President Motsepe arrived at CAF, most of the sub-Saharan Africa could not watch African football at all. And one of the first jobs he gave us was that fix the TV rights, fix the TV product. So the investment on television at CAF is over $100 million at the moment in quality production. Look at the quality production of CHAN here. We're not just bringing 8 cameras for CHAN. I mean, the final has got about 38 cameras tomorrow. Sorry, on Saturday. On
Saturday.
It's got about 38 cameras plus 4, This is world class. The game in England tomorrow will be produced by 28 cameras possibly. If they've got, of course, the final, they've got about close to 40 cameras. So when we are coming here for CHAN, it's not the second best, it's the best, because the quality has to match this. The second element, obviously, is that without the free-to-airs and the pay TV, it's impossible to drive this. So the partnership between CAF and KBC and many other free-to-air partners is at the core of the growth and development you have seen in the last couple of years. The people of Kenya must be able to watch the Harambee Stars play. It's non-negotiable to us. Now, the public broadcaster and of course the free-to-airs and others then have to know that of course it's not free, you know, to employ, to pay the players is not free, to pay the national teams. Look at the fact that 2 years ago, the prize money of Chen was about $1 million. Yeah. Today is $3.5 million. That money must come from somewhere. The prize money for the women's AFCON 2 years ago was $200,000. Today, $1 million. African money is going to African football. This is very clear. I mean, we've got a president who doesn't take a salary at CAF, who doesn't take a per diem, we don't pay for his travel. So that means that ensures that all the resources that are coming to CAF go into this. That is why the partnership with KBC and other free-to-airs in the continent is vital for us.
Making it affordable, you know, I think 8 years ago, the costing for a single tournament like this was close to a World Cup, but how are you trying to make it affordable but also...
Well, I mean, we've got to strike the balance. We've got to strike the balance here. Accessibility is very important. Affordability is something that is always debatable because we've got to keep up with the market. If you want me to give you a product that is inferior, you know, then of course you're going to pay less for it and whatever it is. But if you want to be world class, we've got to push ourselves as Africans. Man, we've got to set these very high standards for ourselves. And this requires money. Financial investment. And I think the days of low production, low quality, those days are over. Now African football is competing with the rest in the world.
And to do that, one of the things is engaging local talent in production. Some commentators,
but look here,
crews.
I mean, we had Ben Otieno.
Yes.
By the way, the last AFCON in Cote d'Ivoire, for the first time we had African voices commentating on it. 50% of that production was done by African people. The director was from Africa, one of the directors was from Africa. The CAF Broadcast Academy, which was established recently, exactly addresses this. You know, if you go today to the FIFA, to IOC and everywhere else, you don't see African people. The CAF of today is investing, I mean, it's not our job to develop broadcast talent, but we understand the benefits of getting international people here and of course training our own talent and ensuring that they don't only do CAF or Chen, I mean, they also go around. And I mean, you've got one of the TV directors here from Kenya, Philip. He's with our crew. So, of course, we're doing it in a responsible manner because we cannot compromise quality. This false belief that when you're giving people opportunities, you are diminishing quality. We're demystifying it at CAF because it doesn't exist.
Well, and a closing word from you. A word to the people of Kenya, East Africa, you know, from managing TV, communications with your team, Ibrahim, Juliet, and all the media officers across.
I think, I mean, first of all, Kasarani Stadium, we have an appointment at 6 p.m. If you don't have your ticket, you've got to buy your ticket.
They were sold out in that time shorter than one half of a football game.
Unbelievable. If you don't have your ticket, please ask him. He's got tickets. I'm joking. but on a serious note, I know that the president of CAF is going to thank people of Kenya. He's still going to thank President Ruto. He's going to thank the people who've really made this happen. But I really, I mean, don't forget, by the way, that press conference at 1 o'clock. I really want to take this opportunity to thank the leadership here at KBC. My goodness me, you know, she calls me 50 times to say, where are the rights? That's how passionate she is about African football, about Kenyan people watching football. And I remember one instance whereby we had a bit of an issue somewhere. And she called me midnight in South Africa. I don't know what it was in Kenya. She says, Lux, can you believe it? Can you imagine a situation whereby people of Kenya cannot watch Kenya play? And that spoke to me. And I told the president, this is what she said. So you've got the right people. We must work together. Together we'll achieve more.
All right. Thank you very much. Lux, September, we call him Lux, and thank you for being with us. He's got to meet some 3 wise men somewhere. Not the 3 wise men who took the gifts, you know, on the day of nativity, but it's some 3 other wise men somewhere. Thank you very much, Lux.
Asante sana.
Karibu. Well, and that's a conversation, you know, about Chan, lessons learned, and also the back story about what goes around when it comes to the broadcasting right. Now, on to another news story is that the National Olympic Committee of Kenya, NOC, has reaffirmed its commitment to ensuring all athletes are given equal opportunities in the selection process for Team Kenya ahead of the upcoming Dar Youth Olympics and the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics. NOC President Shadrack Maluki made the assurance during a meeting with the chairperson of the Parliamentary Sports Committee, Dan Wanyama. The committee aims to identify and nurture talent across the country, ensuring no athlete is left behind in Kenya's sporting journey. Wanyama in turn pledged Parliament's support in collaborating with NOC to strengthen the systems and structures necessary to elevate Kenyan sports to the global stage.
Focused on athletes, him having been an athlete, we believe extremely that through his leadership, we will be able to get it right and we walk the path of success as a country.
And there are people who are focused to see that we nurture more talent. And as NOC, what I know with this new office is that we should create more disciplines to earn us more medals.
And Manchester United head coach Ruben Amorim said his team were completely lost as they were eliminated from the Carabao Cup at Grimsby following a marathon penalty shootout. United salvaged a 2-2 draw to send the match into post-match penalties where they lost 12-11 to the hosts. Meanwhile, Everton claimed a 2-0 win over Mansfield Town.
Ready to seek advantage from the situation. Could be interesting. And Anna's in big trouble. And it's going to be forced in. Warren, the former Manchester United trainee. I suppose there are plenty of question marks surrounding the position as a whole. Here's Mbermo. Brilliant goal. In terms of a penalty. Oh, Maguire's there! So Kabia against Anana. And he finds a way, just about.
Yeah, that's more like a Fernandez penalty.
Armstrong in the box. Lays it back, and Alcaraz finds a corner. And it is a breakthrough for Everton. Now finds the pass, and it's Beto that scores this time. And Everton are safely through to round 3 of the Carabao.
And that is the sport for tonight. And thanks to Lux September for being with us here. Just a quick update. This is a story I know we'll have tomorrow in our lunchtime news. Emmanuel Wanyonyi winning the Diamond League final in the 800 meters. Nelly Chepchirchir winning the women's 1,500 meters. That race was dramatic, I've got to tell you. And it's been a great one. So, O'Brien.
Oh man, I mean, I was just watching that interview with, you're calling him Lux?
Yes.
I mean, and there's nothing that moves me like, you know, like moves me off off the tracks, like listening to somebody saying some nice things about this country and how we do things. And,
Yes.
you know, listening to Lux, you know, talking about how our organizational skills as a country in hosting big ticket games. I mean, that's really good. But I just want to find out from you, when you look at, you know, the entire organizational skills, you know, the connection between A and B in handling, in hosting churn, how then can we make it better? Or are there areas that you feel we can make it better so that we can move from better to best in 2027?
I'll just say one. Let's just get our transport to Kasarani right. Once we get that for ticket holders, we will not have a problem at all. And so that is it from us tonight. Thank you very much. Brian Kimani has been with us. My name is Daniel Wahome. Our sign language interpreter has been Byron Abuli. Have a great night.
Ian Kimani is my name. Thank you for your time. Have a good night.
This is good from Senegal, and a long-distance strike, forcing a fine save from El Hamadi Al-Hara. El Medi full stretch there to prevent that from going to the back of the net. That was a potent, loaded strike here from Senegal's Moussa Cissé. Just managed to avert the danger here for the moment.
Flour, nurturing the world. Available in a store near you.
We are real people who give real care. Visit www.definiteassurance.com or email info@definiteassurance.com for more information, or contact 0708-247-247 or 0788-247-247. Definite Assurance. You are definitely covered. J. Ukonao.
For the finals of the CHAN, we are Morocco team. They had a good game against Tanzania. We also had a good competition between us when we're still in the competition. So yeah, Morocco against Madagascar, we're going for Morocco.
Introducing Duracoat Aqua Technician, Kenya's fast tintable waterproofing paint.